Hi there. Welcome to The Designated Designer, a podcast by designers for designers and clients alike. So, how did this idea for a podcast come to be, might you ask? I honestly, I never thought that I would be starting a podcast. It always kind of scared me because I'm not really good speaking to just a screen or even speaking on video calls with clients. I always really struggled with it. I always had stage fright or stage anxiety, really whatever you would want to call it. So starting a podcast was just kind of never even a thought for me. But the one night I was working on my business and I was kind of just sitting and reflecting about my entire first year in business. And the thought had crossed my mind about some of the struggles I would face as a brand new graphic design, brand design strategist, brand identity strategist. I mean, there's so many names for us. It's hard to keep up with at this point. But as a new brand strategist in the business world, in the entrepreneur world, my first year in business kind of taught me a lot and showed me a lot. And when I was reflecting on all of it, sitting down the one night, I was just kind of going over some of the things I struggled with the most as a new business owner. And honestly, one of the things that I was struggling with the most as far as time efficiency and getting projects turned around and things like that was there were days that I would sit down at my computer and I would be full blown ready to get work done, just in the zone, woke up on the right side of the bed, felt like I could conquer the world. And I would sit down at my computer, fingers on the keyboard and ready to go, ready to just rip through my whole schedule. And I had this crippling anxiety, this crippling fear that would totally roadblock all of the energy and motivation and just everything that I sat down with to get my day started. It was like a door would slam in my face sometimes. And I had no idea what this was. I had no idea what was causing it, and it was drastically affecting my workflow. I mean, really, there were days where I had so much to do, and I would sit down fully ready to just rip through all of it because that's what I'm really good at, and I would just sit down and freeze in fear. And I started to ask myself, why? What is this fear that's causing me to not be able to work? Because I have to work around it. I have to figure out what it is, why it's happening, and I need to overcome this, or I'm not going to be able to see my business succeed the way that I want to see it succeed. It's going to hold it back, And there was this really important moment for me where I realized the gravity of the problem that I was faced with. And that led me to thinking about it. And really, what I boiled it down to was I understand as a brand strategist how important it is to create these brands for my clients, because this brand literally drives their success in astronomical numbers. I mean, if you actually crunch the numbers and look at revenue before a rebrand and revenue after a well thought out and well strategized rebrand, it's honestly staggering. So I really clearly understand my duty and my obligation to my clients when they come to work with me. And that fear was crippling me. Understanding the responsibility that I have as a brand strategist, not only to guide my clients in a rebrand or creating a brand from scratch, but also educating them along the way and always making sure that I'm doing, I'm making decisions based on their best interests. And it's really tough. It's hard most days understanding the gravity of the responsibility that you have to your clients. And I understood that that is where my fear was stemming from. So then I took a step back even further and I started to try to figure out what could I mentally pair this with, because I love analogies and metaphors and things like that. And I was trying to understand what common thing that a wide population experiences, how could we tie this together? What I was experiencing in this very unique situation in my life, how can I kind of tie that in to a broader understanding of it? And then I was thinking back to my college days about how, a group of friends would get together and we would all go out drinking, and there would be one friend that would be assigned the designated driver. And I was thinking about how funny it is, kind of looking back on it, that a group of friends, like 5 or 6 friends, would all pile in a car. We would appoint one of our friends to be the designated driver, and they wouldn't drink that night. So that way they could drive us home. And in thinking about this, I really thought, like, it's just wild to me because collectively in our culture, like, this is a normal thing where groups of friends get together and completely entrust one friend with their literal lives. Like, if you think about it that way, like, a group of friends gets together and we all trust this designated driver to get us home safely. We are literally trusting them with our life. And depending on the severity of how drunk we get that night also affects how much of our life we're trusting with them at that point. And I was thinking about that. And I was like, wow, that really is what this feels like. I really feel like my clients are giving me the keys to their business and they are trusting me with their life to get them home safe. And I thought it was such a cool analogy and parallel because in my head, at least, in my crazy mixed up brain, it makes sense. And I thought it would be the neatest thing to go ahead and make a podcast called The Designated Designer. And this podcast would basically revolve around not only me talking, in solo episodes about things that I'm experiencing in my business and how I overcome it, just stories about things that I experience day to day, what I'm faced with, how I work through a solution, and then the result of that solution. Like, was that solution good? Did it work or did it not work? And why didn't it work? Because I really struggle as a new business owner, not really having a group of friends that are business owners, especially in this industry, that could kind of answer these questions for me. And I'm sure that there's other people just like me out there that are kind of doing it by themselves and they don't really know what's right or wrong. So I'm here for you. I will be your personal guide in your business journey. I will share with you kind of the ups and downs of my own business, things that I've run into, how I handled the situation, how I've overcome it, and kind of be like a little designated driver for designers. But then on the other side of it, I also want this podcast to be able to be for my clients as well. Any clients that are interested in working with me or any clients that I have already worked with, I would love to be able to bring some of my clients on this show and kind of just sit them down and ask them, like, how did it feel? What was the experience like letting me be your designated driver or your designated designer? Because I know from a client's perspective, there is a lot of mental, I don't want to say stress, maybe strain is the better word, but I know it is a big mental task to be able to trust a complete stranger with the brand, like with your brand, the face of your business, the face of your company that you have worked decades to build and, sacrifice so much. So I can understand how big of a task that is. And I would love to hear it from them. Like, how was that experience? What was it like in the beginning when you had to kind of do that trust fall? How was it through the process? And then how was it on the other side? And I think it would be great for other clients to hear that. And I also think it would be great for designers to hear that, real world client designer experiences and every step of the process, the nitty gritty. I'm not just going to be bringing clients on that I had a great experience with. I intend on focusing on clients that maybe didn't have such a great experience, or if we had a hiccup, how we overcame it together and turned something that could have been a bad experience into a really positive one. Because there's certainly times that I've had that happen kind of in the past. And, you're not perfect 100% of the time. I think that was the hardest thing about starting all of this that I had to kind of come to terms with is you're not going to get an A+ on every single test, and you're not going to be perfect on every single project. Sometimes life happens, things get in the way, something gets delayed, or, something goes wrong. And good business owners are differentiated from great business owners by how they handle when things go wrong or things break. the way that you're able to handle that kind of really does determine good from great. So I would love to kind of just share those insights and experiences and things like that. My name is Jenn. I am with Stankin Good Design. That is my company. Yes, my last name is Stank. So we made lemonade out of lemons with that one. Jenn at Stankin Good Design. Give me a follow on Instagram, TikTok, wherever your social medias are. I would love to see you, chat with you, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really looking forward to this podcast. I think it's going to be a really good space for me to just kind of talk about and document a little bit about my business and experiences in real time. And maybe it can be like a little beacon for another baby designer out there that's just getting their feet wet in the entrepreneur world and they're scared and they really maybe don't know what they're doing just yet. It's okay. All you have to do is wake up every day, believe in yourself, and work hard, and it's going to be okay. Like, I went into this, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea how to manage finances. I did not even know how to pay a credit card. I'm 27 years old, and I didn't even know how to make a payment on a credit card. And I will fearlessly admit that. I had to learn so much when I started this business, not only just paying your credit cards, but a million other things in between, from financially managing the business, client acquisition, project management systems, project completion surveys, client portals, like the whole 9 yards. So I'm here for you. And I'm excited if you're joining in and kind of going on this journey with me. It's going to be a little bit rough in the beginning as I learn how to podcast, because this is completely new to me. But thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this little pilot episode, and I'm looking forward to making so many more with you guys and bringing on some awesome guests. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this episode, and I will catch you guys in the next one.